Okay, so a bit of information about me. My name is Mihai. I am a Python and network programming instructor here on Udemy for 3 years now. I have over 40,000 students enrolled in my courses across various e-learning platforms around the web. And I'm also a blockchain, cryptocurrency, and ICO enthusiast, as you might know already. I'm an ICO blogger at icojudge.co, an ICO expert at icobench.com. I also have my own educational company in Romania, and I provide educational services in the blockchain and cryptocurrency space in Romania. And I also have one of the largest Romanian cryptocurrency communities on Facebook, around 2,000 members, and we also strive to bring relevant information to all the members of the group so they can make wise decisions when investing in cryptocurrencies. So this is the information about me in a nutshell. I will see you in the next lecture where we are going to talk about what is an initial coin offering. Okay, so first things first. What is an ICO or initial coin offering? I'm not even going to try to provide my own definition for an ICO. I've gone to investopedia.com, which is one of my favorite websites, and I will read the definition right here. When a cryptocurrency startup firm wants to raise money through an initial coin offering, it usually creates a plan on a white paper which states what the project is about, what needs the project will fulfill upon completion, how much money is needed to undertake the venture, how much of the virtual tokens the pioneers of the project will keep for themselves, what type of money is accepted, usually fiat, Bitcoin, Ethereum or Neo, and how long the ICO campaign will run for. So during the ICO campaign, enthusiasts and supporters of the firm's initiatives, so that would be us, buy some of the distributed crypto coins with fiat or virtual currency. These coins are referred to as tokens and are similar to the shares of a company sold to investors in an initial public offering or IPO transaction. If the ICO reaches its soft cap, so the minimum funds required by the firm, then the ICO goes further. If not, the money is returned to the backers and the ICO is deemed to be unsuccessful. So, in short, an ICO is an unregulated, yet, I might add, means by which funds are raised for a new cryptocurrency venture. An initial coin offering is used by startups to bypass the rigorous and regulated capital raising process required by venture capitalists or banks. Okay, so this is an ICO in a nutshell. However, be advised that unlike an IPO or initial public offering, you are not getting shares of the company behind the ICO and the cryptocurrency they're launching. You are going to get tokens in exchange for your Ethereum or Bitcoin, and then you can trade those tokens on various exchanges across the web. So you're not getting actual shares of the company, you're only getting some tokens which are not binded in any way to the company's shares. So this is very important to remember and acknowledge before investing in any ICOs. Having that said, in the next lecture we are going to have a brief overview of the ICO stages that are required for an ICO to be successfully launched. Okay, now it's time to see the ICO stages from an investor's point of view. First of all, we have the early seed stage. This is the point in time where investment funds and venture capitalists are investing their money into a particular ICO, thus ensuring the minimum capital that the ICO needs in order to start its journey. Then we have the private sale, where we also have strategic investors going into the sale. Usually you have to contribute a minimum amount of Ether in order to get into the private sale, for example 100 ether or 500 ether or 1000 ether or more, and in exchange for your large contribution you will get an amount of bonus tokens besides the tokens you would have got in exchange for your ether or bitcoin or neo or so on. Then we have a pre-sale where the public can contribute with a minimum amount, let's say 0.5 of an ether or 1 ether or 2 ether, and you also get a bonus here, but this bonus, the pre-sale bonus, is usually way lower than the bonus the investors in private sale get. Then you have the main sale or crowd sale or token generation event, where everyone is allowed to participate, and usually these bonuses are really small, or there are no bonuses at all. And finally, after the token generation event or the sale ends, if the soft cap was reached, then the ICO goes further and the tokens are distributed to the investors at a later date, usually 1 week to several months after the sale is completed. Finally, after the tokens are distributed, we have the exchange listing stage, where the tokens of this particular ICO get listed on various exchanges, usually starting with minor exchanges like Aiodex or HitBTC, and then if they meet certain requirements, they will get listed on bigger exchanges like Binance or Bittrex or KuCoin or so on. So overall, this is the overall picture of the ICO stages from the investor's point of view. And of course, if an ICO is very good, very promising, everyone wants to get in as early as possible, preferably during the private sale or even the pre-sale. A mention here, whenever an ICO reaches its hard cap, this is the total amount of money they want to raise from investors. If the ICO reaches its hard cap during the private sale or the private sale and pre-sale, then the main sale is cancelled and the tokens are distributed, and then they get listed on an exchange following the same process. Okay, so in a nutshell, these are the stages an ICO goes through from an investor's point of view, from early seed all the way up to being listed on an exchange. Now let me show you a couple of examples. So we can see here on coindesk.com that Messery, the startup aiming to create a crypto equivalent of Crunchbase, by the way, I know nothing about this project, so this is just an example, has raised a new seed funding round. A number of industry firms backed the round. The amount is yet unknown, including, and these are the investment funds and venture capitalists that raised funds during the early seed stage. If we go to another ICO right here, you can see that this ICO, World Wi-Fi, is currently in its pre-sale that ends in 6 days, 11 hours and 57 minutes. Octus, another ICO that is currently ongoing, has a token sale starting in 4 hours and 57 minutes. This would be the final stage of the token sale. They already raised 5,000 ether. Nebula token sale, this is a public sale starting on April 2nd, so this has already started. They reached their soft cap, as you can see, and now they are aiming for the hard cap. Finally, at Hive, another ICO, this has ended. The token sale phase 1 closed, all tokens sold, so the hard cap was reached already, and now people are waiting to get their tokens and then for the exchange listing. One thing I will add here, during a public token sale, most ICOs will require a whitelisting process to be completed. So this means you will have to fill in some information about you, name, email, Telegram ID, the amount of ether you are intending to contribute with, Ethereum address, comments, referral code, and so on. So most ICOs today are requiring such a whitelisting process, and this is welcome, especially from their point of view, to avoid money laundering or terrorist activities, financing, and so on. Okay, so these were a couple of examples of the main stages an ICO goes through. Please make sure you're not going to skip the following lecture because it is really important for the rest of the course. Okay, so before moving on with the course, I want you to be aware of a couple of things. Please pause this video and read the disclaimer on the screen, and if for some reason you cannot read this, I will read it out loud to you. So please take notice of the following information below. By continuing to view this sheet and this course as well, you accept all below statements. The information and ICO scores in this document and in this course are not financial advice and should not be used as a basis for investment. The information and ICO scores in this document are personal opinions and my own evaluations of ICOs and should not be considered investment advice. The ICOs in this document and in this course have not been reviewed by the Securities and Exchange Commission or any state securities regulatory authority. The ICOs in this document and in this course may constitute securities pursuant to federal and state securities laws and may not be appropriate for or offered to investors residing in the United States. US investors who invest in may be unable to recover any losses sustained in the event of fraud or theft. This does not represent an offer or solicitation to buy, hold, or sell any security. You should always consult your financial advisor before investing in ICOs and cryptocurrencies. ICO investing involves a high degree of risk and should be considered only by persons who can afford to sustain a loss of their entire investment. Please always do your own research before investing in any ICO or cryptocurrency and do not rely on any other analysis but your own. Never invest more money than you can afford to lose, and please remember that the information in this document and inside this course is not exhaustive and errors may have occurred during the analysis of each ICO. Okay everyone, it's time to have a look at the sheet to have a general overview of the review sheet you are going to download later on in the course. So the first tab contains the disclaimer we talked about. Then we have ICO scores. This is the main sheet of this document, scoring system and versions. As you can see, this sheet is currently at version 9 and will continue to evolve over time, and each time I'm going to update the sheet, you will get an announcement on this course. So let's go to the second tab. This is the sheet. I know it looks pretty overwhelming at first. Let's scroll a bit through the sheet. So these are all the columns in the sheet. And let's look at the first column. So we have item. This is the index associated with each ICO in the sheet. Scoring finished, yes or no. Depending on what you are going to type in this cell, the color of the cell will change to either green or orange. So if it's yes, then green. If it's no, then the cell turns to orange. Okay. Next, we have the project score. This is calculated based on all the metrics we are inputting right here in these columns. This is a formula which we're going to go through later on in the course. Risk level, this is associated with the score of the final score of the ICO. So if the score is below 3.3 out of 5, then we have a high risk. If the score is between 3.3 and 3.8, then we have medium risk, and anything above 3.8 is low risk. We have the ICO name, a link to the ICO, the bonus we get in pre-sale or private sale, it depends, the date for the upcoming token generation event or crowd sale, and then we are starting to evaluate various metrics related to each particular ICO. Finally, the last column in the sheet contains comments which you can add for each ICO depending on what you want to mention, either positive or negative aspects related to the ICO itself. Again, regarding the colors in the project score and risk level columns, these are based on conditional formatting in Excel. So depending on the score or the level of risk, the color changes accordingly. Also, for the bonus or ICO date columns, you might not have the requested information at the time you're doing the analysis, so you are going to write TBA for to be announced, ongoing if the sale is ongoing, or the actual date the sale will start. Also notice we have a lot of columns, but some of them are colored in yellow and the others are colored in orange. The orange ones are the ones that are weighted in the formula for calculating the final project score. The yellow columns only help in calculating the values in the orange columns. Also, you can see right here the weight of each column in the final formula. So ICO hard cap 0.025 of the score, ICO price 0.1, and this is not dollars, by the way. We can format this and as a number. Okay, you can see that the weight is different for each column, and the largest weight has the MVP column, so the minimum viable product. This means that if an ICO has an alpha or beta version in place, then this will add more credibility to the project. And also an equal weight is assigned to the team column, so if the ICO has a really good team, then this will be more important than, for example, the advisors or the partners or clients of the ICO. Okay, so that's about it for the general overview of this shit. We are going to get into much bigger depth later on in the course, in the second section of this course. For now, I just wanted you to see how the shit looks like and have an overall view on the way it works. Before moving forward with this course, we must make a crucial distinction between investing and speculating. And I must say again that this course is targeted to people wanting to invest in ICOs and cryptocurrencies and not speculate on the price of various cryptocurrencies from one day to another or 1 week to another. Okay, so investing refers to a long-term commitment to the project you are investing in. This means usually more than a year. It involves a medium level of risk, and the most important skill you need to possess in order to be a good investor is the ability and patience to properly perform detailed research on the projects you are trying or wanting to invest in. Investing also involves a low level of stress compared to speculating, because once you've done the proper research and invested in a project you truly believe in, then you know you are in the game for the long term and the level of stress diminishes. On the other hand, speculating involves a short-term approach, a matter of hours, days, weeks, or months, involves a high level of risk, and the most important skill you need to have is technical analysis. You have to be a master of the charts, and personally I'm not one of them. I do have all the respect for technical analysts. I think their job is pretty hard to do, and that's why I chose investing over speculating. Also, speculation or trading involves a high degree of stress because you constantly have to be connected to the market, to recent events, to upcoming events, and so on, and this will definitely contribute to your high level of stress. Of course, you are free to choose either one of them or both, but this course will continue using the investing framework and not speculation or trading. See you in section 2 of the course. Hi there and welcome to section 2 of this course. In this section we are going to have an in-depth look at the 12 steps I mentioned for evaluating each ICO. But before that, before getting our hands dirty with some ICOs, let's have a few things straight. First of all, notice that some columns and some rows are locked inside this sheet. For example, we have rows 1 to 4 that are locked whenever you scroll down, and also columns A to E whenever you scroll to the right. I think this setting will help both you and me in working with this sheet more easily. Second of all, notice that we have some sections inside this sheet. So we have token metrics, which is composed of several columns, team and partners, project details, and finally community and hype. Another thing on my list here is dragging the formulas when evaluating a new ICO. For example, let's say we have a new ICO. Just drag the cell above. Right here, the project score is currently at 0. Of course, this should be equivalent to a high risk. And for example, let's take the percentage of ICO tokens sold at ICO time. If we have, let's say, 40%, then the value is automatically calculated based on our input. If it's not, then just drag it down, drag the cell above down, and the formula will get executed. Another thing here, there will be some columns that don't have an automated formula to drag, and these are MVP, unique idea, white paper, quality, and long roadmap. For these columns, you should input the value yourself, so you should make your own evaluation and enter a value in each of these cells based on the scoring system you can find in the scoring system tab. We are going to learn more details about this tab as we progress through this section, but for now just keep in mind that for these 4 columns you will input the values yourself. Finally, there are some cases when we don't have all the information needed in order to have a final rating. For example, for this ICO right here, I didn't have the price at ICO, so I left the cell blank and I assigned a value of 3 right in the middle between 1 and 5, thus giving this ICO the benefit of the doubt and not assigning the lowest possible value, which is 1, nor the maximum value, which is 5. Okay, having that said, I'll see you in the next lecture and we are going to see and analyze our first step for evaluating an ICO. Okay guys, so this is it. This is step 1. This is the first criteria that you should keep in mind for evaluating each ICO, and that is the percentage of ICO tokens from the total amount of tokens sold at ICO time. And for this we need 2 additional values: the total supply of tokens and how many tokens are there going to be sold during the ICO. Of course, in this case, the larger the percentage, the better, because a large percentage of ICO tokens sold to the public means that the company is open to its investors and doesn't keep too much funds for development, for the team, for the advisors, for the strategic partners, and so on. Okay, so having that said, let's see 2 examples, a negative example and a positive example. For example, we have Zero Chain, this ICO, which at ICO time sold only 10% to the public of their tokens. Usually, to find this information, you go to the ICO's homepage. If you don't find the information on the homepage, then you will find it inside the white paper. If the information isn't in the white paper, then as a last resort you can visit their Telegram group and ask there. If you can't get the information in the Telegram group, then maybe this information has not been released to the public yet, so you should assign it the default value of 3. But let's return to our example. So zerochain.net, let's go to their webpage and let's look for the token distribution metrics. Okay, so nothing here. Let's go to the white paper and let's scroll down and find a token distribution chart. This is it. This is the chart. let's zoom in a bit, and we can see that the team advisors and partners have 30% of the tokens, while the public gets only 10% during the pre-sale and ICO. And this is somewhat a red flag in my opinion. And for this reason, returning to the sheet, this ICO got a score of 1 for this criteria. Again, returning to the formula, let's copy and paste it in a Word document to see it better. Sorry. So if the percentage is less than 15%, then the score is 1. If the percentage is between 15% and 25%, the score is 2. Between 25% and 35%, the score is 3. Between 35% and 50%, the score is 4. And anything above 50%, the score is 5. Of course, we would have seen that if we would have gone to the scoring system tab right here. You can see the same information right here, and if you don't have enough data, then we assign the default value of 3. Okay, returning to our main sheet, this was the negative example. Now let's see a positive example for this criteria. For example, the Poliswarm ICO. Let's go to their website and search for this information. These are the bonuses. So I think nothing about the token distribution, token sale proceed allocation. No, that's not the information we're looking for. Okay, let's go to the white paper again. And we have token sale. And let's see. Okay, so 70% of NCT tokens will be sold during the token sale. So from this point of view alone, Poliswarm looks like a more open ICO to its investors. And that's why it got a score of 5 for the percentage of 70. Okay, so this was step 1 of our evaluation. See you in the next video for step 2. Okay, let's get on to step 2 of our evaluation, and that would be the second orange column in our sheet, ICO hard cap. So you can see we have 3 sub columns for this. The hard cap itself in dollars, the type of application, which is dApp, infrastructure, blockchain, or currency right here, and of course the score, which is calculated automatically using a formula. Now, because this formula is very long, I will explain it using the scoring system tab right here. So let me zoom in a bit. This is the ICO hard cap scoring system. Basically what this column does is it evaluates how greedy an ICO is, because most ICOs today are actually asking for way more than they need to start their project and fund the first years of development. So because ICOs became pretty greedy in the last couple of months, returning to the scoring system, if we have a dApp, a decentralized app, or a currency, and the hard cap is above $30 million, or if we have an infrastructure project or a blockchain project and the hard cap is above $40 million, then the score is the minimum score of 1. That's because after I myself talked with a lot of people involved in ICOs, and after evaluating maybe hundreds of ICOs up to this point, I concluded that the decentralized app or a currency needs no more than $10 million roughly, and this is an estimate, of course. This sum can differ from project to project, and for an infrastructure or blockchain project, I think $25 million is more than enough to get the project started, to have a test net and then a main net, to hire some employees, some developers, and so on. So this is why I came up with this scoring system for the ICO hard cap. So I'm not actually interested in the hard cap itself, but I'm interested in the combination between the project type and the hard cap. So if we have a dApp currency which is below $10 million, or an infrastructure or blockchain project that asks for less than $25 million, then I think the score is 5 and the ICO is considered to not be so greedy as ICOs that fall in the values above. Okay, returning to our sheet now, let's see an ICO, for example, Polyswarm, which we had a look at earlier. Okay, so Polyswarm actually intends to be a decentralized antivirus marketplace, so we can include this somewhat in the dApp category. And in my personal opinion, and again from my experience, asking for $50 million for a marketplace or a dApp is quite high and maybe even unjustified for this case alone. On the other hand, credits, they're building a whole new blockchain. They ask for just $20 million, which I think is an acceptable hard cap for such an ICO, and that's why they received a score of 5 for this metric. Of course, looking through this sheet, we can see other positive and negative examples I have reviewed so far. So for example, Koti, this ICO, is a currency. They're launching a currency and they're asking for $60 million, which I think is highly exaggerated. On the other hand, even if you're building a new blockchain, I don't think you need $48 million right from the start. So this is exaggerated as well. And of course, you can find a lot of other examples if you start studying ICOs and evaluating ICOs for yourself, using the sheet preferably. And you will find all kinds of ICOs asking for ridiculous sums of money for some dApp, for some marketplace, and I think this very greedy behavior of some ICOs is not at all healthy for the cryptocurrency space in general. Okay, so having that said, this was the second criteria, the ICO hard cap. Actually, this was the level of greed evaluated in this column right here. Okay, the third thing we will measure for evaluating an ICO is the ICO price, so the price of a token at ICO time. And this is not directly related to the economy of the market itself, but rather with the perception over price. There are a lot of new people coming to the cryptocurrency space, and of course perception over value is actually more important than the intrinsic value of the project itself, of the token itself. So many people look at the price of a token and will find a lower price to be more appealing than a higher price for a token. So a beginner will be more attracted to a token that is worth 2 cents than to a token that is worth $2. You can think of this as a newcomer looking at CoinMarketCap and seeing the first 3 coins listed there, which are Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ripple. And of course, people looking at Bitcoin worth several $1,000, Ethereum several $100, and Ripple, which is below $1 at the time of this recording. Of course, they are going to be more inclined to buy Ripple because they have the sense they're buying more of a token. Okay, so returning to our column, ICO price right here. Remember that this is mostly a matter of perception, and that's why if we look at the scoring system, ICO price, I came up with these scores right here. So if a token is sold at a price of over $2 at ICO time, I gave it a score of 1. And if a token is going to be sold for less than 10 cents, I gave that a score of 5. Again, remember, and I cannot stress this enough, this is only a matter of perception, but perception matters very, very much in this world and in this market. Now, for example, if we look at Medical Chain, which had an ICO price of about 25 cents, it received a score of 4. For example, Zella, which had about 6 cents from my research at ICO time, got a score of 5. On the other hand, Fusion had a score of about $2, which translated to a score of 1 in this case. So in a nutshell, this is the role of the third column, the third weighted column, and the price got a weight of 0.1, which is pretty high if we compare it with the weight of the ICO hard cap or the weight of the percentage of ICO tokens sold, just because perception matters a lot. Okay guys, now let's have a look at the last column in the token metrics section, and that is the potential return on investment. This is calculated based on the ICO hard cap and the all-time high market cap of the main competitor for our ICO. So let's see a couple of examples, but before that, let's go to the scoring system tab and see how is this column scored. So this is the potential return on investment. If it's less than 2x, so less than double, then the score is 1. 2 to 5x, 2, and so on up to more than 50x potential. This is a score of 5, and if we don't have enough data or the project is unique and doesn't have a competitor in the market, then the default value of 3 is assigned for this metric. Okay, now returning to our sheet, let's take a couple of examples. So for example, the next ICO, which is going to be an exchange, has an ICO hard cap of 25 million, and its main competitor is Binance, will be Binance after Next goes live, which had an all-time high market cap of $2.4 billion. That would be a potential return of 96x, which gives it a score of 5. Then for example, Medical Chain, which had an ICO hard cap of 24 million, its main competitor will be MediBlock, which had an all-time high market cap of $852 million. That would be a 35.5 potential return. Of course, this is a rough estimation, and it is valid if and only if the ICO we're analyzing is going to deliver on its roadmap and evolve over time as its competitor did. Let's take another example like Tomocoin, which is a blockchain. Of course, it has a very low score in my sheet, but nonetheless, it is a blockchain project. Its hard cap is $8.5 million, and its main competitor I chose to be Cardano because it is one of the most highly rated blockchains. The all-time high market cap of Cardano was $33 billion. So that would be a 3,000 return, potential return somewhere in the future if Tomocoin really delivers on its project, on its roadmap. For a currency like COTI, right here, with a hard cap of $60 million, I chose its main competitor to be Bitcoin Cash. I skipped Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the king and you cannot beat the king yet. And Bitcoin Cash had an ATH market cap of $69 billion. That would be roughly around 1000x return for COTI if everything goes well and good and as planned. Again, don't judge me on this. Don't throw stones at me for having this system. This is my system, the system I use, and again, for this column, for the potential ROI column, this is just a rough estimate of the potential return on this particular ICO or on any of the other ICOs over time. So this is considering a long-term investment, by the way, and it's just an estimate. Of course, things can go either way in the future. So again, this is a score from 1 to 5. If you don't have yet hard cap, for example, the value of the hard cap, or the project is pretty unique in the space and doesn't have a competitor, just assign it a value of 3 and give it the benefit of the doubt in order for you to have a final rating for your ICO. Okay, so that's it with the token metrics section of the sheet. Starting from the next lecture, we are going to look at the team and partners section of this Excel spreadsheet. Alright guys, it's time to go into the team and partners section of this sheet, and let's start with the team. The number of superstars or all-stars in the team matters very much in the whole equation of an ICO. Actually, if you noticed, the team and the MVP, the minimum viable product, have the largest weight in calculating the final ICO score. Why? Because when analyzing an ICO, we're mainly looking for a good team that already have some kind of code, some kind of prototype, an alpha version, a beta version, or any other kind of product, not just a white paper, not just an idea. On the other hand, if you do have a prototype, then you definitely need some superstars in your team in order to get that prototype to a testnet, to a mainnet, and so on, so that the product will evolve over time. Okay, so in the case of this column, we have also values from 1 to 5 for the score. So if the team has no superstars, then the score is 1. For 1 superstar, then the score is 2. Let's go to the scoring system tab for better visibility. If we have 2 superstars, then the score is 3. For 3, 4, and anything above 3 superstars in the team is scored with 5. Now, what does a superstar mean? It means a team member that has a good experience in a large corporation, in a company that is publicly traded and has revenues of several billions of dollars, for example, or a team member who studied at Harvard or Stanford or has a PhD at MIT, or anything of the sort. Now, regarding the work experience in a large corporation, for example, I'm looking for team members that have worked for such a corporation or entity for at least 1 year, preferably 2 years. On the other hand, if I'm looking for academic credentials, then I'm looking for top universities like Stanford, Harvard, Oxford, MIT, Berkeley, and so on. And usually I'm looking for a master's degree or a PhD. That would be even better. Also, another important thing here, the team must have at least 1 or 2 blockchain developers, experienced blockchain developers, because it's pretty sad to see, and I see this quite often, to see team members that don't have any kind of blockchain experience whatsoever, but they are planning to build a new blockchain or some kind of revolutionary app. Now back to our sheet, you can see that, for example, a project like Doc or Tomocoin had no superstars, in my opinion. So for this section, their score was 1, the minimum score. On the other hand, we have ICOs like Definity or Polyswarm or Data Wallet that had at least 3 superstars in their team, thus the maximum score of 5. You will see a live example of how I rate team members and advisors and partners later on in this section, when we are going to analyze an ICO and review it from scratch using this sheet. For now, just remember that this is the scoring system for the team and that the weight of the team is quite big in the final score. The next step in our ICO review is scoring the advisors, mainly how many superstars are there in the advisory team of an ICO. For the advisors, the scoring system is the same as for team and as for the partners or clients, meaning no superstars translates to a score of 1, more than 3 superstars translates to a score of 5. Back to the sheet. What does it mean to be a superstar as an advisor? Well, in my opinion, a superstar advisor is either a well-known figure in the blockchain and cryptocurrency space, maybe the founder of some successful cryptocurrency or ICO project, maybe a well-known author, maybe a well-known investor in cryptocurrency, B, a current or former CEO or CFO or CTO for one of the largest corporations, or C, a well-known professor or PhD from Stanford or Harvard or any of the top universities in the world, people that can actually support the project and guarantee for its legitimacy. As you can see in the sheet, there are ICOs that have failed this test, let's say. For example, CardStack didn't have any superstar advisors. On the other hand, Sapien Network had 6 of them, Current had 5 of them, Sweetbridge had 10 Superstar advisors, and by the way 23 Superstar contributors to the project as team members. Dev Network has 8 Superstar advisors, and the examples can continue further, but I'll stop here for now. The main idea is that an advisor or a set of good advisors may help the project evolve over time, and secondly, may add credibility to a project in a space and in an industry that lacks credibility very much at this point in time. The final rating in the teams and partners section of the sheet goes to partners/clients. At first, a while ago, I only gave points in this section for Superstar partners, but recently I also decided to include clients because a known company or a company that is already established in the market in the non-blockchain space that has several big clients, once it moves to the blockchain space, it can bring its clients along, while a startup in the blockchain space with no clients has a clear disadvantage when comparing with the first case. So that's why I decided to also include clients in this scoring system. Going to the scoring system tab, you can see that the scoring system is actually the same, identical with the team and advisor scoring systems. Back to the sheet, you can notice a lot of zeros in this column because most of these ICOs are startups with no business history whatsoever and thus no clients. However, there were some ICOs that had either great clients or great partners. For example, let's take Simply Vital Health, which has MIT and Yale as partners. For example, Andor, which has MasterCard and Amazon Web Services and Banker and Enigma as partners. Or maybe Unibright, which has Samsung, Siemens and Unilever as clients already. And having such a large name behind you as a cryptocurrency startup can mean very much. So what does an entity need in order to be considered a superstar, either as a partner or as a client in my sheet? Well, A, it may be a huge corporation like Samsung or Siemens or MasterCard. B, it can be a well-known and successful cryptocurrency and blockchain project, like for example Steemit or Civic or Neo. And finally, it can be a well-known university like Oxford, Stanford, Yale, MIT, and so on. So you can notice that the criteria for being considered a superstar is roughly the same when it comes to team members, advisors, and partners or clients. In the best partner column, you can mention 1, 2, or 3 of the best partners that the ICO has for further reference, as I did right here. Also, by the way, a superstar partner may also be a huge investment fund like Fembushi Capital, for example, or many other well-known names in the cryptocurrency investing space. Okay, so that's about it regarding the team and partners in this sheet. Next, we are going to look at the MVP column. Okay, so here we are in the project details section of this sheet, and the first column in this section is the MVP column, the minimum viable product column, and this actually refers to an alpha or beta version of a product that an ICO should have, some kind of prototype. And as you can see, this has a big weight in the score, in the final score, 0.2. Okay, let's go to the scoring system and see how this column is actually scored. So if the ICO doesn't have any prototype at all, then it receives the minimum score of 1. If the company behind the ICO has been founded somewhere in the past 2 years, so it's a relatively young company, and it has a non-blockchain working product and some clients, then it has a score of 2. If the company is older and more experienced in the market and has a non-blockchain working product, then the score is 3. A company younger than 2 years with an blockchain alpha or beta version receives a score of 4, and finally a company older than 2 years with an alpha or beta version of the product receives the maximum score of 5. So as you can see, in this case you are assigning the value yourself by simply researching the ICO's website and their white paper, where you can usually find the roadmap. The roadmap is the first thing I'm looking at when searching for an MVP, because there you can see if they already launched an alpha or beta version of the product, or if they are planning to launch an alpha or a testnet somewhere in the near future. From my perspective, an ICO that doesn't have any product at all, either non-blockchain or blockchain, it's automatically out of the question for an investment, because I don't like to invest in white paper ICOs. I don't like to invest in pretty and shiny websites. I'm looking for a great team that already has something built. Okay, so that's about it with this column, with the MVP column. But remember, this is very, very important. It is crucial for an ICO to have, especially nowadays when there are 30 or 40 ICOs launching per day. The second column in this section is the unique idea column, also scored from 1 to 5. And this actually measures how unique is the idea behind the ICO's product. With so many ICOs being launched each day, of course there are a lot of Me Too projects, clones, ICOs that copy and paste each other's white papers, and so on. So whenever an ICO comes with a unique idea as a disruptor, it will have, of course, the first mover advantage in the market. So let's go to the scoring system tab and see how is this column scored. So if the project is actually a clone of another project, remember there were cases in which the white paper, the homepage, the information on the homepage, and so on were actually identical with another ICO, then the score is 1. If there are lots of ICOs building the same, roughly the same idea, for example a decentralized exchange or a payment system, then the score is 2. If the ICO's idea has 3 to 5 competitors already established in the market, then the score is 3. From 1 to 2 competitors in the market, the score is 4. And for being the first bringing a particular idea or project in the cryptocurrency space, then the score is the maximum of 5. So going back to our sheet, you can see a couple of projects that have been pretty unique at the time of their launch. And on the other hand, you can see some of them that already had some competitors established in the market. Okay, so let's have a look at the third column in the project details section of the sheet, and that is white paper quality. And what exactly do I mean by white paper quality? Well, for example, the white paper has to have a table of contents with hyperlinks to each section. Preferably it should be in English and at least in Chinese as well. It has to have a release date and the author specified. It has to have an abstract or summary section. The white paper also has to describe the current problem the project is aiming to solve, and also the technical solution and its implementation for this problem. The white paper has to use some diagrams to better describe the functionality of the product. It has to specify the token sale parameters, for example, total supply or token distribution or hard cap. Furthermore, the white paper should clearly define the end use of the token and should describe future steps, a roadmap, for at least a year from the token sale. Each step of the roadmap should also have a clear deadline set, like Q1 of 2018 or Q2 of 2019. The white paper should also list the core team members and the advisors, along with their professional background, and also should describe some current or planned partnerships. Moreover, the white paper should have a disclaimer and some legal terms for the general audience, and should provide a market analysis and preferably a go-to-market strategy. And the last point on my list, the white paper should be properly formatted and organized, and this is regarding fonts, headers, page count, and should be easily readable in general. So that's about it when it comes to white paper quality. If you look in the sheet, I've seen some really good white papers, for example, Expertise white paper or Sapien Networks white paper, and also some really bad white papers like in the case of Keep Network or GoChain. One of the white papers I usually use as a reference is Power Ledger's white paper, which is very well built. However, this white paper isn't perfect, but it covers most of the points I have described thus far in the video. Looking at the scoring system tab, you can see that for this metric we have very low quality with a score of 1 and an excellent quality with a score of 5. Of course, this is rather subjective, and it's your duty to evaluate the quality level of the white paper itself, because the white paper in itself is very important for the project. It's the heart of the project. It's the document that clearly describes anything related to the ICO we are analyzing. So each time you're analyzing an ICO, please go through the white paper and evaluate how good of a job or bad of a job the team did with this document. Finally, in the project details section of this sheet, we have the long roadmap column, which is also scored from 1 to 5. Let's go to the scoring system. So if the roadmap length is below 1 month, the score is 1. 1 to 3 months, the score is 2, and so on until the maximum score of 5 is reached whenever I see a roadmap that is above 12 months long. Again, as with all the other metrics, I've seen great roadmaps and also some bad ones, and I've also seen ICOs that haven't published their roadmap. The roadmap is a very important piece of information whenever you look at an ICO, because it shows the level of commitment the team has to the project for the long term, and also the level of planning they've made in order for their project to evolve over time. Let's see a positive and a negative example. For example, Power Ledger has this roadmap right here, which is designed up to Q3 of 2019. So given the fact that their ICO was launched in 2017, they had published a 2-year roadmap to describe the evolution of their product. On the other hand, we have Keep Network, which has this roadmap right here. 2017 public announcement, Q2 of 2018, the public sale, and the network launch somewhere in 2018. No one knows when, no one knows what are the intermediary steps up to the network launch and when each step is going to be implemented. So this is a very poorly designed roadmap. As you can see, the roadmap column doesn't have a large weight in the final score, but it has its importance in the review system nonetheless. Okay, so the last piece of the puzzle in this sheet is the community and hype section. Let's see how to evaluate this section and this score. Among the 5 columns in this section, only one of them has a weight, and that is 0.075. Now, I know I mentioned that we are evaluating ICOs from an investor's point of view and for a long term. However, community and hype do matter in this whole equation, and that's why we are estimating and evaluating the hype score based on the current social media numbers that the ICO has at the time of the analysis. Of course, these numbers will grow over time, but we are interested in evaluating the hype at this moment for each ICO, and given the fact that these companies, these projects, don't have a history behind them, we are going to work with the data we have at hand currently. So the way the hype score is evaluated is we go to the Telegram group of the ICO and see how many members does it have, and we are also looking at the number of followers on Twitter for each particular ICO. As soon as we input these values right here, then the community score column automatically calculates the score based on this system right here. So if the sum of Telegram group members and Twitter followers is below 1000 at the time we're doing the analysis, then the score is 1, and if they have more than 20,000 followers altogether, the score is 5. Going back to our main sheet, the formula in this cell will reflect the scoring system I just described. Furthermore, after we calculate this score right here from 1 to 5, then we are also taking into consideration the type of market that the ICO launches in. For example, if the ICO will take place during a bear period, a bull period, or a neutral or a sideways market. Based on this input right here, which can be neutral, bear, or bull, then the final hype score is calculated by multiplying the score with 0.5. If the market is bearish, we'll multiply it with 1, so it will keep the same value. If the market is neutral or sideways, and it will multiply this value right here with 1.5 if the market is bullish at the time of the ICO launch. So this is the way the hype score is calculated based on our inputs: Telegram, Twitter, and the type of market during the ICO launch. Alright guys, in this lecture we are going to study, evaluate, and score an ICO from scratch exactly the way I'm using this sheet for ICO ratings. So for this video I have chosen Mercullet as the ICO. So let's go to their website and grab the link. Now let's enter N here because the ICO review is not finished. Let's drag down the score and the risk level. Okay, and now let's start our analysis. First of all, the bonus. Let's see if we have any details about the bonus here. So you can see that during the private sale we have 1 Ether equals 87,500 MVPs. While in the public sale, the same Ether will be worth 70,000 MVPs. So let's calculate the bonus. 87.5 divided by 70. So we have a 25% bonus during the private sale, 25%. The public sale will start on 25th of April, so April 25th. The ICO token supply, let's take the total supply first, so 10 billion MVPs. Let's enter this value here. I entered 1 billion, it's 10. Let me add an additional 0, okay. And they are going to sell 30% of their tokens to the public. So that would be 3 billion. Okay, 30% right here. And the score is 3 for this column. Next, ICO hard cap. They have a hard cap of 37,000 Ether, which at this point, if we go to coinmarketcap.com, an Ether is $463. So 463 times 37,000 is 17 million roughly. So let's enter 17 million. Okay. Now let's see what kind of project is this. So maximize the Internet of Value by becoming the ultimate solution through implementing users' attention into enterprise growth. Let's go to their project paper. Project introduction. Mercullet has built an attention value network to connect both the supply and demand sides of attention. 3 core components. Multi-tier architecture with multi-chain and multi-asset to bridge the massive internet user and enterprises with the underlying public chain. So it is a holistic solution to solve the 3 rigid needs, enabling users to achieve value, blah blah, a lot of marketing words right here. Project will be launched to billions of netizens without changing their habits. enterprise could achieve the token-driven user operation and focus on the enhancement of ultimate, oh, blah, blah, blah. I can read this. Okay, so I don't understand if this is a dApp or kind of a marketplace or something. Let's go to the white paper. Okay, let's skip this. Abstract. So, blockchain technology, blah, blah, blah. We are living in an era, blah, blah, blah. It seems like it's kind of the same text as in the project paper. Industrial pain point, background, Merkulet's goals and vision, Chief Growth Officer of Global Entrepreneurs. Oh my God. Okay, uses blockchain technology to transform the relation between consumer, investor, and producer. It also helps enterprises grow their business. Okay, so they are built on top of the blockchain technology. They're not building a blockchain themselves. So, core components. Unlike most blockchain projects, Merkulet provides a solution that enables the entire value loop to leap forward. It will face hundreds of millions of internet users. Okay. They're based on Ethereum. The token is an ERC20 token. Merkulet consists of a series of protocol and dApps running on top. Some of the protocols are as follows. Okay, so this is some kind of infrastructure project. Okay. So the score is 5 regarding the ICO hard cap. Now, let's see the price. Let's return to their white paper, to their website, sorry. So during the public sale, let's divide the current value of an ether to 70,000, and that would be around 0.6 of a cent. So let's get back to the sheet. 0.006. Okay, let's increase the number of digits. Okay, what would be the main competitor or something similar to this project? So attention will be rewarded, growth will be rewarded, solution, attention value network, has built an attention value network. Okay, user attention value, evaluation system to scientifically measure the value of a user attention. Okay, provides a full solution to help entrepreneurs issue UATs. Open content platform. Okay, let's get back to the project paper. The team has helped top mobile internet entrepreneurs by providing growth solutions in the areas of user attention and content. Okay, so from what I see, in a nutshell, at a first glance, this project is kind of basic attention token, but extended to a plethora of other services, online services. So I will consider the basic attention token as being a similar project, kind of. So let's enter BAT here. And the maximum hard cap of BAT was 900 million. Okay. The potential return on investment, this would be equal to this divided by their hard cap, this. So it can be a potential 52x return at some point in time. Let's drag the formula. Okay, that would be a 5. Now let's get on to the team, advisors and partners. Okay, let's open these LinkedIn profiles right here. It seems like they do have a pretty big team. And I like the fact that I see a lot of technical people and also business people. Okay, so Ivan is the CEO. It seems like he was a software engineer and architect at HP, which makes him a superstar right from the start. Okay, so I logged in into my LinkedIn account, and now let's continue to their CTO, a principal engineer for Dell EMC. Let's open this up. I think this is a subsidiary of Dell or something. Yeah. Okay. Software engineer at Hewlett Packard. So He's an all-star as well. Okay, so their CPO. What company is this? I can't read Chinese, unfortunately. This is a small company. Let's dig deeper. Okay, nothing interesting here. Happy Lee, their data scientist. Nothing special on his profile either. Jiang Bin Wu, chief architect. He was also a solution architect for Philips and software designer at HP, so definitely a superstar here. Another architect at Markulet. Let's see his background. Lead engineer architect for SAP SuccessFactors. I don't know what's this. Let's check it out. Okay, nothing. Let's cut him from the scheme. Another team member worked for JD.com, which is China's largest retailer and listed on Nasdaq. So I think he's also a superstar. Yeah. Next, we have this guy. Unfortunately, his profile is all Chinese. Okay, let's skip him. Kines Cheng, head of global business development, general manager of Mexico office at Cheetah Mobile. Let's check this out. It is a leading mobile internet company. So it's a public company from what I see. Let's go further. Hire Group, product sales manager. Smart living home solution platform. Okay. This is as well a public company. Let's search for these companies on Google. So Hire, Wiki. Okay, this is the Romanian version, sorry. Let's go to the English version. Okay, so it seems this company listed a subsidiary on the Shanghai Stock Exchange and also Hire entered Hong Kong Stock Exchange. Okay. Hire is also an index stock of the Dow Jones China 88 index. Okay, so this is pretty good. Cheetah Mobile, let's search for this company as well. Launched an IPO selling 12 million shares. They raised $168 million. Okay, post IPO. Announced its acquisition of a French startup, news for $57 million. Okay. Okay, so these two are publicly traded companies. And this guy was a general manager for one of them and a product sales manager for the other. So I will consider him a superstar. And finally, we have Stanley, which is a partner at Markulet. Let's see if we find something interesting. No. Okay, so we have a total of 5 great team members in their team. So 5 here. Okay. Advisors. Let's see the advisors. Advisory board. We already see Bo Shen, which is one of the top investors in cryptocurrency right now. But nevertheless, let's go through all of them one by one. Professor at Stanford University for the last 24 years and a PhD in physics. Okay, so he convinced me. Bo Shen, he's an all-star, definitely. Roger Lim, it seems like he's an advisor for several projects like Zero Chain, Tomo Chain, Open Platform, Bluezell. Okay, so it looks like this guy has made a real job from being an advisor. The Key, Self Key. Okay, so it looks like he's pretty well established in the cryptocurrency space. So I'll consider him an all-star. This guy, I can't read much about him. Let's see. This guy, he was a practice manager at HP for 6 years. Software engineer for 2 years. at Nokia. Okay, I'm impressed. Iris was a director and brand marketing in China for Procter & Gamble, which is a pretty huge company, and held several manager positions starting from 2005 all the way up to 2014. Okay, so she's definitely an all-star. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all-stars in the advisory team. Okay, let's see their partners and clients, if they have any. Let's do a search on their homepage. Partners. So they have Fembushi Capital, which is owned by Boshen, from what I know. And the other ones I can't really identify right now. They may be some investment funds, smaller investment funds, or some advertising companies like Solo Ads. Let's also check their white paper again for the word partner. So we have some clients and partnership, page 27. Okay. Ilex has become a benchmark of Chinese internet companies. Okay. In the past few years, Ilex has cooperated with the top internet companies from China, having created many breakthroughs and classic cases, including Baidu, Tencent, Alibaba. Okay. More than 50 million active users worldwide use Ilex services. Okay. That could be an all-star partner right there. Solo Ads, as the connector of China's pan-internet industry, has been dedicated to providing the ultimate mobile experience, blah blah, no figures here. Exclusive strategic partner, Magic Window, is an over 4-year-old technology company which has had 4 rounds financing. Most of the team members are with technical background. Core team members used to lead HP, SAP, eBay, Philips, and so on. Big data, okay. Magic Window is with clients across China, as well as cooperating with several international apps with more than 10 million daily active users. Okay, its daily content release is able to cover 200 million independent users. Okay. Magic Window, it's pretty awesome company as well. So we have 3 partners: Fembushi Capital, Fembushi, Magic Window, and Ilex. Next, let's go and see if they have an MVP. So let's go to their roadmap right here. So Q2 MVP token onboard, release avian system beta 1, including okay, product design, at least one of the partners is on board. In Q3, quarter 3 of this year, release avian system beta 2. So they are going to release a beta version right now in quarter 2. So given the fact that we are in quarter 2, this video was recorded during quarter 2 of 2018, I will give them the benefit of the doubt and consider they have a beta version of their product. Now, one more thing I would like to check is how old the company behind Merculet really is. So let's go here, see more. Okay, so it seems we don't have a founding date. So let's go to the project, or no, let's stick to the white paper. Let's see if they tell us something about their company. Abstract. Okay, nothing here. And for this reason, I will assume that they are a pretty young company, less than 2 years, because I didn't find any information about the date they started their company. So according to the scoring system for the MVP, it's a company less than 2 years old with a beta version. That would be a score of 4 right here. Unique idea. As I said, if we compare this project and consider it as being similar to the basic attention token, then there is a pretty low number of competitors currently in the market. So if we go to the unique idea, we have 1 to 2 competitors that I know of, and they don't even seem to be direct competitors, but kind of in the same niche. So I'll give it a score of 4 as well. White paper quality. Let's browse a bit. Let's see the table of contents to see if they included the main points that are necessary in a white paper. Okay, so they have the solution, the problem, description of their technology and the platform. Okay, we may have something at page 27 about the foundation. They have the partners, the roadmap, the team, the advisors. A couple of things I see missing here are the token metrics, a clear go-to-market strategy, a legal disclaimer, or is it? Yeah, they have one. They have one. Okay, so I would score this at about 4. That would be a really good or high quality white paper. Let's get back to the sheet. The roadmap length. Let's see the roadmap again. So they go all the way to Q4 of 2019. So let's get back to our scoring system. That would be more than 12 months from now. So that would be a score of 5. Okay, let's see their community numbers at this point. So Telegram and Twitter. The Telegram group has 9,400 members, roughly. And let's also see their Twitter. About 3,100 followers. Now let's drag the community score, and that would be a score of 4, sorry. And since they're having their public sale, from what I remember, on 25th of April, and we are currently during kind of a bear market, let's assume in the worst case scenario that this bear market will last all the way up to the end of this month, April. So let's consider this a bear period for their ICO, and that would give them a hype score of 2. Okay, so let's check one more time if we haven't skipped any columns. And it all looks well and good. Okay, I will mark this as finished. The final score is 433 out of 5, which is really excellent. And again, this is not any kind of financial advice. I am not encouraging you to invest in this ICO. It was suggested to me by someone a few days ago, and I thought it would be good to use it as an example during this course. I don't have any kind of link to these guys, to the Mercury team, so don't even think I'm getting paid or something to review this ICO inside this course. It's just an example. So overall, this is the way I review each ICO that comes my way and looks kind of interesting. I hope this video has helped you in putting all the information in this course together and creating your very own review system. Okay guys, some final considerations before we conclude this course. By the way, congratulations for making it this far into the course. First of all, I will urge you again to read the disclaimer in the sheet and inside this course. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor, and you should always do your own research before investing in any ICO or any cryptocurrency. And I hope my course will give you the proper framework for your own research. Also, never spread FUD without having any arguments and without verifying an information from several sources. My advice for you is to never join a pump and dump group, because you can be easily burned and lose a lot of money. And from a security standpoint, I am recommending using a hardware wallet. I'm using the Ledger Nano S, but others are using the Trezor. Currently, this is the best way to keep your funds and your coins secure. Also, stay tuned for new videos in this course and for sheet updates. Of course, the sheet is a living document and will evolve over time. And each time I will update the sheet, I will send you a notification here on Udemy so you can benefit from the latest update. Also, feel free to ask any question in the Q&A area of this course, but please don't ask questions like should I invest in this or that ICO, because again, I'm not a financial advisor and this course encourages you to do your own research and to decide for yourself. Also, feel free to post your own ICO reviews in the Q&A area of the course. Another thing I would like to mention here is that sharing is caring, but sharing these documents with people outside the course would really harm me as an instructor and also this community of paying members. So please don't spread this document all over the internet. Udemy has sales and discounts quite often, so your friends will be able to get into this course and benefit from the updates as well for the least amount of money. Finally, if you want to stay tuned to my work, feel free to follow me on Twitter, LinkedIn, and my blog at icojudge.co. Having that said, thank you again for being enrolled in this course, and I wish you all the best in your ICO and cryptocurrency endeavors. Hi and welcome to this course. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you decided to step up your game when it comes to ICO investing. By simply enrolling in this course, you are already ahead of 99% of the ICO investors out there, so good for you. In the first section of the course, we will have a look at what is an initial coin offering in the first place. We will see the ICO stages that an ICO goes through from private sale to the final exchange listing. Also, I urge you to go through the disclaimer lecture in this first section because this is very important for the information for the rest of the course. And also we will have a brief overview of the review sheet I told you about in the description of the course. Finally, we will make a very important distinction between investing and speculating, and I'm going to tell you that this course is for investors only, for long-term investing, and not for speculators and traders. In section 2 of the course, you will find out the 12 steps for properly evaluating an ICO, and also you will get to download your copy of the review sheet, and finally you will have the link to my own review sheet that I am updating almost on a daily basis with the latest ICOs I am analyzing. Finally, in section 3 of the course, you will have a quiz regarding the red flags that you might find during an ICO analysis and some final considerations from me. So overall, this is the structure of the course. Again, I'm very happy you're here, and now let's get on to the next lecture where you'll find a bit more about me and about my background in cryptocurrency, ICOs, and blockchain in general.